It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
There we go. A little Super Bowl this weekend. Some NFL films. Yeah. Hello again, everybody. Patrick Johnson here with you. That gets you to the weekend edition of the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game, 94.3thegame.com, the IBX Media app, and our streaming platforms, YouTube, X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, and Facebook. Philip the Rep Pilkington producing today's show. What a show we have. What a show we have. We've got Brian Mull coming up in a little bit. We are going to talk even on this kind of Football Friday, the last one of the year until the fall. We're going to have, or late summer at least, we're going to have Brian Mull talk some hoop. I want to talk to him about a little bit of live golf. The hoop we're going to talk about would really be a lot generated in state today. So we're going to get into all of that in a little bit. If you missed it this morning, Steve Logan appeared on Talk of the Town. We'll have an encore of Coach's appearance later on in our show today. But right now, do we have T-Cop Pilk, or do we need to vamp for a second? Because I do have some prepared material if we don't have T-Cop on the phone yet. So give me a little guidance, a little direction at this juncture of the Friday show.
All right, he's on. Sorry, I was on the phone with him as you were. Here we go. Okay. He's good.
Well, we'll get to some of that ECU news and other things in a little bit. But right now, on the phone with us, he played for the Pirates, Pampac legend, and NFL career that was a decade long, and he included considerable time in Kansas City. Terrence got to play for some of the good franchises in the NFL, and KC is certainly one of them. We're going to talk the Super Bowl with him. Our great friend, Terrence Copper, is with us. T-Cop, how are you, my friend?
What's up, Pat? How you doing?
I'm well. I guess you're rooting for the Chiefs this weekend.
I am rooting for the Chiefs. I am. I think that Patrick Mahomes is the next Brady. I'm rooting for the Chiefs.
You know, I think what's interesting about this is San Francisco, and I've said this the last couple of days, San Francisco has really been the team that they've been really good all year. They've overcome their own adversity. Look no further than the game last week. They've had some injuries and overcome that. They have a lot more options and weapons on offense. That Brock Purdy is a little more than a game manager, but I don't know if he's like an elite all-timer, but he's pretty darn good. The thing I will say about San Francisco when you compare them with Kansas City, KC's superior at the quarterback, and I think, Terrence, they're superior at the head coaching spot. I don't think we give Andy Reid enough credit. I'm of the belief Andy Reid right now is the best coach in the NFL.
I would agree with you. And everything you just said, I mean, you're hitting it right on the head. I feel like the San Francisco 49ers, their roster, top to bottom, I feel like it's better than the Chiefs. But I feel like when it comes to the leadership side of things, the Chiefs are heads and shoulders above San Francisco. Like you said, especially at the quarterback position with Patrick Mahomes, this kid is just a winner. He's been a winner. I want to say he's been to the Super Bowl 3 out of his 4 years actually playing. I think 2 of those years, Alex Smith was the quarterback. But when you get to Coach Reid, to me, Coach Reid is that cornerstone of why the program has moved in the direction it has moved in. To me, Coach Reid, this whole Kansas City team reminds me of the dynasty that was built in New England with the Patriots with Bill Belichick. The Patriots had Bill Belichick, an amazing leader at the head coach position. They had a great quarterback in Tom Brady and a great tight end in Gronkowski. And the Chiefs are set up the exact same way with a great head coach, and not just coach, but he's a great person. I got a chance to know Coach Reid personally as the person, and he's an amazing person. Forget the coaching side of it. He's just a great person, for one. And then you have you still have Patrick Mahomes at the quarterback position, and for our tight end, we have Kelsey. You know, so I feel like they are set up to really continue this dynasty that they're on. and Coach Reed is at the helm of that.
We're talking the Super Bowl 57 with the great Terrence Copper, 94.3 The Game, football analyst, Pirate through and through. And Terrence, I look at this San Francisco team, though, and again, I think Purdy is an upgrade over Jimmy G. I think he's had a fantastic season. George Kittle's is equally as good at tight end as Kelsey. You have Deebo Samuel, who I think is fantastic, and then CMC, who's so dynamic, Christian McCaffrey. So I don't think you could discount that because I think, again, on paper, they have more options on offense, even though Kansas City has the advantage at quarterback.
I agree with that. I think for San Francisco, I think the guy that does it for them is McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey is the guy that makes them so dynamic. I think the other guys are great in their role. Deebo Sanders, I love him when they have the ball in his hands. I like the quarterback Purdy. I like their team, but I think McCaffrey makes them go. And when it comes down to this game, I feel like it's going to be a very close game. I feel like it's going to be a tight game. But I just feel like Patrick Mahomes is a winner through and through, and I feel like he's going to find a way to will his team to beat the San Francisco 49ers. I think Patrick Mahomes, for the player for the Chiefs, I think he is the X factor and his will to win, and just the way he plays the quarterback position. He's not going to allow himself to beat their team. Everything he does is what the Kansas City Chiefs need at that moment. When the Kansas City Chiefs needs a game manager to just manage the game because of how the game is going, he will be that guy. If the Kansas City Chiefs need a guy that need to make some tight throws and some big lead throws and lead them down the field because we got to come back, he's going to be that guy. He is everything that he needs to be in every moment. And that's rare to find, but you found it in Tom Brady. That's why I'm really singing high praises of him, because for him to go into playoffs and go on the road to beat Buffalo, I mean, this just wasn't a down year for the Chiefs. But him to go on the road to beat Buffalo, and then for him to go on the road and beat a Baltimore team that should be in the Super Bowl with their MVP quarterback, for him to do that, it's amazing. And because of him, it's going to be a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFL that's not going to get a chance to win the Super Bowl because of him.
Yeah. Who are you rooting for in the Baltimore Kansas City? I mean, either way, you were kind of, going to win out. But was there a particular? Were you maybe hoping Baltimore got there, or what was that like for you a couple weeks ago?
To me, it didn't matter because, like I say, either way, I felt like it was good either way, because I like Lamar Jackson, and I wanted to see Lamar Jackson get them to a Super Bowl. And plus, like I said, I'm a Raven as well, but I wanted to see Lamar Jackson get that stigma off his back about the type of quarterback he is, because he has 2 MVPs. I don't know if this MVP right here is his 3rd one, but I know now he got 2 at least. But he needs that Super Bowl ring to put him in the conversation with the other great quarterbacks. And I feel like he is a great quarterback, but I just feel like he doesn't get his just due, because when it comes to the playoff time, he's not making the statement. And that's when the good teams and the good quarterbacks make their statements in the playoffs. So I was hoping that he could get a win just so he can move out of that realm of just being a regular quarterback. But I'm thankful that the Chiefs got there, because that's an amazing organization as well. So I couldn't lose with that, but I didn't mind seeing Lamar Jackson get there.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about both offenses pretty extensively, but both defenses. Kansas City's got one of the best defenses in the NFL. And then you just look at the talent pieces on San Francisco. They have a very, again, on paper, kind of deeper linebacking core, but also I think a more talented to a man on paper and in production defense this season.
It is. They are tough. And when you look on the edges, you got Bosa on one edge, and then you look on the other edge. What's the kid name that came from the Redskins? Well, the Washington football team. What was the Commanders? Their DN. He was a first-round pick. I can't call his name, but they are loaded defensively. San Fran is. I think the Chiefs are great when it comes to defense this year. I think they did a lot better this year when it came to their defense. So the defense the Chiefs have is solid. So this is shaping up probably to be one of the best Super Bowls we have ever seen, because of not just their defenses and not just because of both of their quarterbacks. Because Purdy, trust me, he got a chip on his shoulder. And what Purdy has done this year, if Lamar Jackson didn't get the MVP, Purdy could have been in the running for it. So I feel like with Purdy, what he has his chip on his shoulder and how San Fran is playing, I feel like with the Chiefs, how Mahomes, how he is, and how the Chiefs are playing, and how both defenses are very aggressive and very good, this is really set up to be one of the most, probably the best Super Bowl we've seen in a long time. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
We've seen some good Super Bowls.
We have. Terrence Copper's with us here. All right, give us a little update on what's happening at the Premier Sports Academy. What are you guys involved in this time of year?
So right now we are real heavy with our 7-on-7 starting up. Our travel basketball is starting up. We have basketball training that's going on. We have football training that's going on, speed and agility training. We still have birthday packages, any type of events you want to throw. You can reach out to us at the Premier Sports Academy, or you can reach out to us at 378-1655. So we have a lot of great things going on for your kids, for your athletes. We have after-school programs still going on, so we just have a lot.
What is that son of yours that's in high school which sports is he going to play? I know he plays them all, but...
The crazy thing, but I just got off an interview over in Kinston, and they asked the exact same thing. And one thing that I used to do, I used to label him. I used to be like, he's a football guy. But when he was younger, I used to think he was a basketball. Now, Pat, I don't label him. I give him to God, and I let God do whatever he's going to do with him. And Tyreek is just who he is, whether it's, if you like him in basketball, you like him in basketball. If you like him in football, you like him in football. He can do both. And I stopped labeling him and putting him in a box, because he's a kid that you can't put in a box, to be honest with you. And that's because of God, the talent that God has given him.
It's all his mom. That's what it is. It's all his mom. All right, the great Terrence Copper. T-Cop, give me a winner and a score. Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. So we got the Chiefs. We got the Chiefs, and I'm going 24-27 Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes drives down. I think he drives down the last 2 minutes of the game, within the last 2 minutes in the 2-minute drill, and I think they seal it with a field goal.
So you got a fourth quarter drive.
Yep. 24-27. How about you?
I got you. I'll give my picks at the end of the show. That'll prompt you to listen. That'll prompt you to listen. All right, the great Terrence Copper, Premier Sports Academy in Winterville. Check him out there. Great to talk to you again, Terrence, and we'll speak again soon, my friend. Take care.
Yes, sir. You too. Good having me on.
All right, there he is. Great Terrence Copper. Awesome to have T-Cop on. One of the great people. As great a football player as he was, he's just a better human being. Hey, congrats to Shane Winkler. Pirates in softball get the 10-run win to open the season. And he gets win number 400. ECU softball hit 3 home runs. What did they hit last year, Pilk? Like 11?
I think it was 20 for the year last year. They hit 3. Okay. Joey Fatante hit a grand slam yesterday, and I think the 5th inning. So that was awesome.
It's crazy. Pirate basketball back on the hardwood at San Antonio this weekend. We'll talk about that game next. Also talk some more with Brian Mull about all that, but I want to congratulate Coach Winkler on that. The Pirates are going to play this weekend in Charleston. Tuesday, they will play North Dakota State in the home opener, and I'll have that on ESPN+. So hope you'll join us then. But right now, stay tuned. Brian Mull will be with us. Little Delbert McClinton going to break. Weekend song, if you know, you know.
Wrap-up event. Wrap up a great deal on over 100 pre-owned vehicles, starting under $15,000. We have all makes and models, including luxury. Plus, wrap up a huge warranty and no-charge maintenance. Hurry into Greenville Toyota.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef. brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hey, grab me one too.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
It's Greenville Toyota's winter wrap-up event. We're wrapping up the year with our biggest savings. Shop new Camrys and RAV4s, $289 a month. Need credit? Get pre-qualified today. Wrap up a great deal with payments from $289 at Greenville Toyota.
We have you covered with all the ECU news and beyond that you need for the drive home. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Brian Mull, at BG Mull on the artist formerly known as Twitter X. He tweets about golf. He tweets about basketball. He also writes about college basketball and golf. Had something out this week. Mull, how are you, my friend? A little dirty hippie music for you, you dirty hippie.
Doing well. Thanks. It's a classic. Makes me think that springtime will be here before we know it.
It kind of felt like it in southeastern North Carolina. You know, we're virtually neighbors now. So so it's, you know, it was a nice kind of warmish day. Yes, I'm very stoked about tomorrow. I'm gonna enjoy a little time on the sand tomorrow because it's supposed to be quite warm and decent enough to go out and have a little fun. So there you go.
Yeah.
And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, he's one of the best in the business. All right, Brian Mull with us here. You want to start? Golf, I got a couple things real quick. And, again, stay with us because we've got the encore of Logan from this morning. Pilk, how long is that? Did you text me and let me know how long that is so I can adequately time out the rest of the show? And I don't want to short shrift the great Brian Mull here. How about HV3, Harold Varner, season opener for Liv, finishes DFL and comes back. And, I mean, what he did yesterday, 63 in the opening round there at Vegas. And it's interesting they're holding their event in Vegas during the Super Bowl. And I'll tell you what, they actually had, you know, for Liv, a pretty good crowd yesterday out there. I think it actually might be a little stroke of genius to have that event out there with the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, the city is buzzing more than it normally does with the Super Bowl being in town and all that comes with that. And I think it is a very smart marketing ploy by Liv to go where the party is, and they kind of see themselves as the party in golf. And with the talent that they've been able to attract, a lot of tour players on both tours are based out of Las Vegas, so a home game for some of the Live guys. And I know Harold has worked quite a bit with Butch Harmon, the swing instructor. So don't know if he was able to, who's based in Vegas, who maybe was able to have an opportunity to see him prior to the event. But regardless, a terrific round. And, the beauty of golf in that you can have a very disappointing week, but there's often next week where you can quickly put that in the rearview mirror. I expect Harold to have another good year on the Live tour.
Does John Rahm going to Live? I don't want to say legitimize that, but has that kind of flipped the script? Because last year there were the elitists who wanted to have nothing to do with Live. That felt like Live was kind of the, kind of a joke in a way, or not a real tour. I mean, you've got the best player in the world, Rahm. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody's rankings say. Rahm's the best player in the world right now. Being on that tour, that's a huge deal. And then he's got on his team, which, again, I think this concept could really take off. But the team is the kid out of the SEC that won the championship in the SEC. I mean, they're getting the best players now.
Yeah, I mean, and they're going after them. I had a conversation with someone recently who said that Nick Dunlap, the amateur who won in Palm Springs a couple of weeks ago, received a phone call from John Rahm in the parking lot within an hour of that victory, being offered $20 million and the spot on his team. And then he declined it, and they went directly to Caleb Surratt, a North Carolina native from Indian Trail, sophomore, about to start his fourth semester at the University of Tennessee, reigning SEC champion. And look, that's the key for either the Live Golf or the PGA Tour, is not only attracting the current superstars of the game and retaining them, but attracting this next wave, because as we continue to see around the world, the game is getting younger. There are more and more players who are ready to compete at the highest level right away at a very young age. They're going to keep coming for a myriad reasons. And, the balance of power has certainly shifted. It continues to shift in Liv's favor. I mean, there's no question that getting a player, the reigning Masters champion, two-time major winner, just a superstar destined for greatness like John Rahm legitimizes that tour. But I think if you look a little deeper, I think it also means that down the road, we're going to see some more unity between the two tours, some working together.
You're going to have to. You're going to have to.
You cannot deny world ranking points to players of the caliber that they have on their roster now. I mean, if there's a major tomorrow, there's a very good opportunity that John Rahm and Brooks Koepka are two of the top names on the odds board. And, certainly Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy are going to be in the mix as well. But the balance of power is shifting. And I feel like Rahm deep down had an idea this was going to happen. And, he's a guy who's always talked about the history of the game and also his place and his legacy. And I think he wants part of his legacy to be, he was the guy that moved the needle, that forced these two sides that have this contentious relationship to have some sort of agreement.
Well,
and Liv is part of the party.
You got DJ, you got Cameron Smith. I mean, again, if they were playing a major next weekend, those four guys would be on the odds board at very close to the top on the odds board. It's you and I were talking yesterday, as we're prone to do, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. Get rid of the President's Cup. It stinks, and let's do a Live PGA thing. That would be bigger than the Ryder Cup.
It would be the biggest event in golf, because you have these people on both sides who've drawn a line in the sand, and either supported one or the other. And then you have just a lot of golf fans who are in the middle who are just confused, really, understandably so, by everything that's going on. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense. it looks completely different. I think there's a case to be made that golf needed a revolution in some fashions. It had become stale in the way that it was, and the PGA Tour had a monopoly on the best events in the world, and I'm not sure that's good for the sport globally, and it is a global game. So, yeah, let's take the best 12 from who want to be on the U.S. PGA Tour, have made that choice, a choice that looks smart as the $3 billion investment was announced earlier this week.
Right.
And then you take the players who have opted to go the live route. And look, what a match that would be. I mean, I could draw up 12 versus 12 right now. That would be just compelling theater.
And look,
and you know, a lot of these guys are still friends.
Right. Play it in the Northeast because there's great rowdy golf crowds in the Northeast. Play it up there. You could probably name courses better than I could. Play it at the Waste Management. Make that the weekend of the Waste Management. That square off. Let's do it then because that's a rowdy crowd. Do it in Vegas. Do it somewhere where it's going to be raucous. And I guarantee you'd set viewer ratings. You'd sell tickets. And look, both sides, plenty of money. Let's put a charitable deal in it. Let's give some money to some charity. Let's give some money to troops or, something that is beneficial. I mean, let's do something like that.
Let's grow the game. Let's do something like what Harold's trying to do in the Carolinas, where we make the game more accessible for folks from all types of backgrounds, all kinds of income.
Let's do something for the troops and make the game more accessible. Exactly.
Golf's a super expensive sport. Let's help some people out that have the ability and have the talent, and at least let them progress and maybe be a college golfer, get a scholarship. Be terrific.
That'd be great. Yeah. All right, let's talk some hoops. You wrote an interesting article for College Insider, I believe it was, about and you can check that out, collegeinsider.com, and Brian's got it there. High Point, 20-win basketball team. What they've done as a university is kind of revolutionary and interesting. And in the Big South, they've jumped in 2 feet NIL world.
They have. They hired Alan Huss, very accomplished chief assistant from Creighton, and certainly instrumental in helping Greg McDermott build that program there over the last decade. And one of the best offenses in the country year in and year out. And he brought a lot of those concepts to High Point. They were able to recruit an extremely talented class, a class really, when you dig into it, that these guys weren't being recruited very hard. They were kind of lost in the portal, if you will, and credit to Huss and his staff for finding those guys. Now, once you find those guys at any mid-major, any school that's not in the Power Five, you've got to think about retaining them. And because of that, they have invested heavily, really created a unique NIL where they can cater to domestic and international players, because the laws are a little different there on how the funding with taxes and things, tax deductible donations. And they feel like they're in a good position to retain the talent that they have. They do not, unlike a lot of teams, they're pretty young. They have a lot of guys who have eligibility remaining. They have a 7-foot true freshman center, originally from Cameroon, who is potentially an NBA guy down the road. I mean, he's extremely raw, but he just has gifts that you can't teach, and that they certainly want to keep him. So fascinating what they've done there. People around the Carolinas and around the Big South and just college basketball in general always felt like High Point was a sleeping giant. With the right leadership there, they have the support across the campus, which is vital. It goes way beyond the basketball office and basketball court these days, and they're pragmatic. They think about solutions up there, and I think that was what really stood out in talking to the president, AD, and the coach.
Well, and here's the other thing: everybody talks about, we want to be the Gonzaga of the East Coast. I mean, you've heard that down in Wilmington, quite frankly. You've heard it in Richmond with VCU. High Point's positioned to be that because it's private, like Gonzaga. I mean, in other words, it's truly the only game in town. I understand that these other places I mentioned it is too, but they have the administration is committed to that. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but they're positioned to really run the Big South if they continue this for a long. I mean, the campus, the way the campus looks now, I mean, it's very modern and futuristic, and that wasn't always the case. But ironically, they get beat by Drew Pember and UNC Asheville, who's kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, not well-funded. It's not a well-funded program. It's kind of a gritty thing. But Pember's awesome, man. And, I mean, you could look at either one of those teams from North Carolina could very well be – well, they're both very likely going to be in the postseason one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, that's I think everybody around that conference fully expects them to meet one more time in the tournament championship game, which interestingly enough, will be on the High Point campus at their beautiful new arena, the Cobain Center, this year. So a bit of a home court edge for the Panthers. But yeah, what Mike Morrell has done at UNC Asheville in 5 years is phenomenal. Of course, defending champions. And really just a representation of what mid-major basketball in the Carolinas is right now, which is probably as good as it's ever been in the last couple of decades when you look at what's going on at Appalachian, Charlotte, UNCW, UNC Greensboro. Yeah. I mean, you've just really got a lot of strong programs across the region.
Well, either one of those teams could be in the NCAA by winning the Big South, as we know. Wilmington's got a great shot to win the CAA. You're going to have the usual suspects of Duke and UNC and possibly Wake Forest in the NCAA tournament. State is probably an NIT team at this juncture if they choose to go to that tournament. Obviously, with a lot of time still to play. Is there, who could win the SoCon? Is there anybody from the state that can win the SoCon, or is that not as likely this
year? UNC Greensboro.
Okay.
I mean, Stanford beat Greensboro last night to sweep the series. What Bucky McMillan has done down there's a name to remember. He's not going to be at Stanford forever. Young guy who was a successful high school coach and has just taken that program to places it's never been. They'll be the favorite going into the SoCon, but UNCG will certainly be in the mix there along with Chattanooga and Furman. Western Carolina's got a pretty solid team as well, but yeah, I mean, we could have representatives from the state with the three primary mid-major leagues that are kind of made up of teams from the state, and certainly what Charlotte's done. They're really going to have to win the American tournament, but they're in the mix as well.
How about South Florida? They knock off Charlotte this week, and going into the weekend, they're the number one team in the conference. I mean, Abdur-Rahim can just coach. We know that. I like his team. He's got some great guards. He's got a 6'10" guy that can score from three levels. I just think South Florida, they believe, man, they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah, and shout out to my guy Andy Kennedy at UAB as well. I mean, that team was 4-5 and dead in the water, and he was publicly about as frustrated as I've ever heard him. He's generally a pretty realistic and upbeat type of guy, and they were not defending anyone and losing games at home, which just does not happen in Birmingham. And then I watched one of the better games I've seen this year last night. They take down FAU in overtime and just an absolute fist fight.
Yeah. Right.
UAB imposes its will, and now he's got them right where you expect an Andy Kennedy team, up in the mix in the top 5 in the American. And that guy, he is what he did at Ole Miss was impressive, and now he's back at his alma mater, and hats off to UAB for in the top of the American in general. It's just been really interesting to watch. Maybe not the names we expected, but certainly some very good teams.
Well, and here's what's interesting about USF. You saw them, too, earlier in the year. Hofstra, I think it was. And, I mean, Hofstra boat raced them. And, I mean, that was a deal. Okay, it's looking like another Brian Gregory-esque season.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, if you would have – I mean, there's no way I would have believed they would even have been in contention, much less leading the American. I mean, it just looked like a first-year coach – trying to build it with a lot of transfers, just the pieces didn't fit together, that you questioned the buy-in, just the energy that was on the court. I mean, I know it had to be very frustrating. And for them to just click into gear in a year when there's, 4 or 5 top 100 teams in the American, and be at the point they are now, 16-5, 9-1, just a great job of coaching. I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, this is the same coach who took a team from one win to the NCAA tournament in 4 years at Kennesaw State. And he looks to be continuing that career arc here in South Florida.
All right. Pirates return to action after the bye from the midweek game. The off period probably couldn't have come at a better time. We'll see what Brandon Johnson's like health-wise with the hip. But he's got to get back on track. This team's kind of got to get back on track. Can they do it tomorrow on the road in San Antonio?
I mean, this is a game you need to win. Like we've said that a lot about the Pirates. They've won a few of those and lost a few, but at 4-6, kind of in the middle with any hope of getting to 500 or above in the conference, you can't afford to go 4-7. So road games are difficult, but you're playing one of the bottom teams, a team that's really not been able to stop anybody, 353rd in defensive efficiency. You're coming off of a week where you get a bye, which is a great thing this time of the year. Look, all these teams have bumps and bruises and need a reset, and they've been given that. They need to go down there and perform well. And this is kind of a litmus test for what we're going to see from this team the rest of the way. I mean, you and I both know that you kind of are who you are at this time of the year, and the teams that are on the ascent generally continue that way, and the teams in the middle that are trying to find themselves better do it in a hurry. I just need to see more consistency from the Pirates, both individually and collectively, and I just don't know that they've really formed the identity that I expected.
Give me a Super Bowl winner.
Well, I like the Chiefs. My man Billy Walters is the best to ever do it. Said the wrong team is favored. And so Billy Walters also said that Michigan was going to beat Alabama. And he said a lot of things that turned out right. So I'm going to lean on him. And I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes in a big game. I just, all things being considered, who's got the better quarterback? And to me, it's not, I'm sorry, no offense to Brock Purdy, but Mahomes is the best quarterback in the game.
And I think they got the better coach on the sideline. I think Andy Reid's highly underrated, and I think he's the best coach in the NFL. I've already said that a lot today. All right, Brian, thanks a lot. Enjoy your weekend, my friend.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the big game.
All right, Brian Mull, there he goes, at BG Mull. Follow him there. Philip the Ref Pilkington with a 94.3 The Game Sports Update and Pirate Report. Pilk, take it away.
Thanks, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics, it'll be a full weekend, and it started yesterday when the softball team won the season opener 11-1 at Charleston Southern, and it was Coach Shane Winkler's 400th career victory. Be sure you come out tomorrow to the lacrosse season openers. They will host Queens University at noon, then head on over to women's basketball at 2 o'clock as they host Charlotte. On the drive home, be sure to tune in to 94.3 The Game and 107.9 for men's basketball coverage against UTSA. Network coverage starts at 3:30 for that 4 o'clock tip. Last night, the NFL honors. Lamar Jackson won his second MVP, and Steelers Cam Hayward brought home the NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year. The 2024 Hall of Fame class was announced. It was defensive end Dwight Freeney, Devin Hester, the kick returner and cornerback, turned wide receiver Andre Johnson, edge rusher Julius Peppers, and linebacker Patrick Willis. For the senior class, it was Randy Granishaw from Igo's favorite team, the Denver Broncos, and Steve McMichael. Last night, the Canes knocked off the Avs 5-2. Martin Necas had a natural hat trick, scoring the first 3 goals of the game, all coming in the first period. The Canes will be back in action tomorrow when they host the New Jersey Devils as Dougie Hamilton makes his return to PNC Arena. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. On the other side of this timeout, we will hear from Coach Logan talking about Super Bowl 58.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligator.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227. is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Fifth Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous Fifth Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. Fifth Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
We are riding shotgun with you on the drive home.
It's go time.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, it is Super Bowl weekend. Chiefs, Niners. Steve Logan, who occupied this space Fridays at 5 o'clock for the fall, great job. He talked earlier today on Talk of the Town with Henry Hinton and myself about the Super Bowl and football matters. And we asked Coach Logan, does he buy into that 2-point spread?
No, so far, you cannot bet against Patrick Mahomes.
That's what I say.
He's a next, really and truly, he is the perfect evolution of the mobile quarterback that can win from the pocket and then punish you when the pocket breaks down. That's the perfect quarterback. You know, Michael Vick could punish you when the pocket broke down, but he couldn't necessarily win in the pocket. And the NFL, they will make you win from the pocket. So, you know, this Mahomes cat, I'm telling you, man, he really is. He's the perfect evolution of the 21st century quarterback, in my opinion.
The other quarterback's not bad. What do you think of the Purdy kid?
He is just so good to watch. He's that guy, you know, the experience I had with Matt Ryan of being, you know, Matt would release the football so early and his anticipation with the ball. You know, he didn't have Matt didn't have a huge arm, but the timing and the catchability of the ball, you know, it's Joe Montana, Brock Purdy, that kind of quarterback. And this game, to be honest with you, is going to come down to the San Francisco 49ers running game versus Patrick Mahomes' magicianship. That's really and true. You know, the 49ers run the football in the most creative way that I've seen ever. You know, I mean, that's really Shanahan's genius.
You mean their blocking schemes or something?
Correct. Yeah, they're Chris Furster is the offensive line coach that I worked with at San Francisco, and he's still there. And he is the single best offensive line coach I've ever been around as far as the creativity and the way that he uses, you know, San Francisco is a two-back offense, which is kind of a throwback in this day and age. Everybody else is a one-back offense. But if you watch the San Francisco's run game, it's used with a lot of inserts by the fullback or a motion fullback or a motion tight end, and it's a zone scheme, but the creativity of it is off the charts. And, then you hand him the ball to one of the very best running backs in the history of the game, Christian McCaffrey, and there you go, man. You can run the football and win a lot of football games, and that's what they've done.
As long as McCaffrey doesn't get hurt. He hadn't been hurt. He hadn't been hurt much this year. He's been a little injury prone. Of course, he was hurt the whole time he played for the Panthers. But
I know it's amazing. You know, when he left, Carolina to go to the 49ers, I thought, man, the 49ers are really gambling because he had been hurt for 2 years, but he has stayed healthy. And I'm telling you, when he is healthy, he really is one of the best running backs I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah. So what makes Mahomes so good? I mean, he's just kind of a freak, isn't he?
Well, he is. Like I say, he's the perfect combination. But Brock Purdy has the same attribute that can't be coached that Mahomes and all the great ones have. They see the field in a wide vision, peripheral vision. I call it soft focus. I've worked with some quarterbacks that play the game, and they see the game through a straw. They have to look at a receiver, look at another receiver in a true progression form. But the best ones that I've been blessed to work with, at East Carolina, the Jeff Blakes, David Garrard had a lot of that, where they could soft focus the field. Certainly Matt Ryan could. And, suddenly the ball comes out in a place that might have been the third read of a 1-2-3 read, but the ball comes out so fast to number 3 because they've already seen it develop without having to look at 1 and 2. And it's wonderful to coach. I can tell you that when you've got a quarterback doing that for you as a play caller, I mean, man, you're in tall cotton right there now because every play has a chance to work. And both those quarterbacks do it. But Mahomes has the added ability, to just take off running when everybody's covered. And you can't get that kid on the ground. How many times have you ever seen him truly get sacked?
Really?
Like never.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Did you like coaching in San Francisco? I remember talking to you during those days. You liked living out there, didn't you? I mean, which is interesting because you're to the right of me. But
I know.
But
I'm a little bit to the right of Attila the Hun. Actually.
Yeah, you are. But
but that we were there when San Francisco hadn't fallen apart.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful and beautiful place to live and working for the Yorks. I've got a small sample size. I worked for the Glazers in Tampa Bay, and that was what it was. It had a certain atmosphere to it, but I always wanted to work at San Francisco, and that played out. And I loved working there. And the Yorks, the atmosphere in the building at San Francisco was top drawer. Everything they do is first class. And we got there. It was sad from the standpoint of when I had the opportunity to go there. We were that whole roster that had gone to the Super Bowl was being deconstructed because if you do the history, the year before we got there, that's when Coach Harbaugh and the Yorks, got into war with each other because it was an 8-8 football team that we were walking into, and they had given up 62 sacks the year that they were 8-8, the year before we got there, and we were there to kind of be a bridge, to the next, good years, but. There's no patience for that, and they were the whole roster was being deconstructed because it was an old football team when we got there. Everybody was 33, and 33 in the NFL is 93 in normal life. And so it was this guy, that guy, everybody was being traded and cut, and we were playing football that year with just rookies and free agents. That's who we had on our roster. And the fact that we won 4 or 5 games was a miracle. And then they got impatient and they hired Chip Kelly, and then he proceeded to win 2 games the next 2 years. And so wow. Timing is everything. I'll tell you, we were coaching at San Francisco exactly what you're witnessing the Carolina Panthers going through right now, a deconstruction.
Yeah.
And it's a hard road to hoe, and there's no patience. There's no patience from owners in the NFL now. So, that's just the cycle that I got caught up in. It was sad, but I loved working there.
Is there any hope for the Panthers? You say there's no patience with the owners, but I mean, how about when the owner is the problem?
Well, that they are the problem because they have no patience, and so it's a boomerang, it's a circle that it's vicious. But the Panthers right now, if in fact Bryce Young, is that his name?
Yeah.
The quarterback?
Yep.
If in fact he isn't capable of carrying a franchise, the Carolina franchise is going to be a disaster for years to come because they spend all their draft capital on that kid, and which is scary. But that's what they did. And so it's welcome to hell if this kid can't pick up the franchise and carry it. I don't know if he can. I think he's good. I don't know if he's that good.
Yeah, he sure didn't look good this year. That's for sure. But I remember
nobody would.
I remember on your radio show this year, you did a compare and contrast to the Jacksonville Jaguars guy, Tracy Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. And you talked about how much his rookie year was like Bryce Young's rookie year, and then of course he's blossomed into a good quarterback. But I mean he seems like he's got a better supporting cast, doesn't he?
Well, he does because the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't have to give everything away to get him. It was their natural slot to get Trevor Lawrence. They didn't have to trade up. But that's the gamble that the Panthers took. And again, it's all 20/20 hindsight. But I can tell you this: if I had been in that draft room, I would have been fighting really hard on one issue to not draft Bryce Young first.
Yeah.
And it's simply this: the NFL is a big man's game.
Yeah.
There are exceptions everywhere. I understand that. There's a Barry Sanders at running back. But I'm just telling you, a 5'11", 195-pound kid playing quarterback. Drew Brees was exactly 6 foot and a quarter. Jeff Blake was 5'11" and 7/8. But it's scary.
This
to go
guy
down
doesn't
that
even
road.
look 5'11". They list him at 5'11". I'm not sure he is.
Well, you know what? I've got one of my closest friends that's still in coaching, coached Bryce at Alabama. And so and I don't want to mention any names, and I'm not going to, but I asked him a lot about that because I was shocked that the Panthers did what they did just on the physical attributes available.
Yeah.
And my friend told me, he said, I wouldn't bet against him, but I wouldn't bet for him. Now, that's not a great endorsement for somebody that worked daily with that young man.
Yeah. PJ, 2 minutes, go.
Are you surprised Bill Belichick didn't land somewhere, Coach?
Yes and no. I'll tell you, there's an axiom in the NFL, and I experienced it personally. You don't retire from the NFL. It retires you. And that's what Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, Steve Logan, Tom Landry, anybody that's ventured into those waters, that's what happens. They look at your birth certificate eventually and say, that's it. Go find a 40-year-old somewhere. And that's the nature of the beast, and that's where Bill Belichick and, even at the collegiate level, you see Nick Saban, there's other issues there. The NIL thing is starting to kick in.
That's what I was going to ask you. Were you surprised Saban retired because he seemed like a lifer? But I guess he just got fed up with the state of things.
NIL did it.
Yeah.
Have you seen where Chip Kelly's getting ready to walk away from UCLA
to
go back into the NFL as an offensive coordinator? The head coach at Boston College walked away to go be the defensive coordinator wherever. And this is going to be, these 50 and 60-year-old coaches that haven't grown up in NIL, they're going to walk away the first chance they get because that isn't what they signed up for. Now, the younger generation, they won't know any different. They're going to walk into that, and they'll deal with it because it's like I said on my radio show earlier, that these college coaches are going to suddenly find out they not only are the head coach, they're the general manager. And you got to manage money, and you got to manage contracts, and then try to coach football. It's just what the Boston College coach said on his way out the door. He said, I'm not getting to coach anymore. And so there's going to be a whole lot of this coming down the road because the college game, as you and I and everybody else grew up with, is no more.
All right, Steve Logan from earlier today on Talk of the Town. Stay tuned. We will wrap up the PJ Show, the Get You to the Weekend edition, next.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport. Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place, and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
Hey, grab me one too.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
And now, the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
Pirate basketball's coming up tomorrow. 4 o'clock tip from Texas, UTSA, and the Pirates in San Antonio. East Carolina Sports Network coverage begins at 3:30 on 107.9 WNCT and right here on 94.3 The Game. Philip the Ref Pilkington producing the show. Big thanks to him today. Pilk, Super Bowl, who you got?
I'm going Chiefs 28-27.
Okay, a 1-point win. I'm going Chiefs too, but I think it's a 10-point spread. I think the Chiefs are loaded for bear. I'm going to go Chiefs 34, and I guess that would be San Francisco 24. That's what I'm going.
There you go. Is it a
Chiefs
late touchdown to put it out of reach, or is it never in doubt?
I think maybe it's a little bit of a late touchdown. I think there'll be a little back and forth, but I think Kansas City will. Who knows? Yeah. I think Kansas City kind of punches out there a little bit late in the game, or late third, fourth quarter, somewhere in there. All right. Big thanks to Talk of the Town for providing us the clip for Steve Logan. So thanks to Michael Buscemi for that. Also, thanks to Brian Mull and Terrence Copper. On Monday, Cliff Godwin will be with us. We'll go inside the ECU clubhouse with him as it'll be game week for the Pirates. And Stephen Igo and I will have that for you. Plus, we'll also be bringing you inside Pirate Athletics from Tiebreakers. Have a great and safe weekend, everybody, and enjoy the Super Bowl.